Everything I've done so far to build my desert forest in the most isolated spot in the state of Texas has been a learning process. And learning process is a euphemism for you got it done, but you could have done it 1,000 times better and 1,000 times more efficiently. I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning. It's extremely unlikely that somebody with no experience is going to come up with a good plan. So if you don't have the experience to build a good plan, the only alternative is to actually do. And once you've done it, your obligation is to do it better and more efficiently the next time you do it. Today it's mulch, and the purpose of mulch right now is to provide a microclimate for seedlings. We're going to have to go through a long progression of getting succulents and grasses established before the trees go crazy. But right now the strategy is to get the trees up and going with the grasses and succulents hot on their heels. I want as much vegetation growing at as many different heights as possible from the ground so that I maximize the microclimates and the shade to give that life the opportunity to thrive. But before the plants come up, they need all the help they can get to avoid the wind and the sun. Yeah, I was telling Thiago, the cows out here will eat the cacti, thorns and all.
It's very strange. You never see one with like a big infected face or anything?
Nope.
That's very strange.
Telling you, the cows out here, they're tough. Are we starting from where you wrapped up with the yucca? Right over there? Or are we just breaking the stuff up?
We can just spread it bit by bit, or we can go and unload one chunk.
Yeah, I'd rather just do one chunk. Smash this down. I think the Sawzall might be better for this, because it's really hard to break that up. Let's see if we can get it into chunks better with this. But you see, this is the coir I was talking about. Yeah. It looks exactly like coconut coir.
Yeah, these are decomposing all the time. Slice it like cutting here.
Yeah, it's way easier. When I brought wood chips out to the property, they cost
$85 a cubic yard.
And that was just the purchase price. Including the fuel to haul that stuff out, I paid $135 to get the material out to the ranch. That is insanely expensive. Most of that cost is the actual purchase price of the mulch because it came from El Paso, which is not exactly a gardening hotspot. It's a city of 700,000 people with maybe a dozen tree companies in the entire metro area. I know, because I've called all of them. My goal is to go crazy. No, that is not my goal. My goal is to get started without going crazy. Paying that price and going through the hassle of bringing it all the way to the ranch made me realize I can probably gather the same amount of material for less than that price, even including the labor costs. What we're doing today is we've already gathered the mulch from all across the ranch, and we are trying to make an island of fertility in this one little spot, the bottom terrace of the 3 that I've built so far. I mean, most of it'll stay. Some, we might lose some.
They will be intertwined anyway.
It's way easier if you put the grass on top. Way easier to walk. Because we have grass on the bottom, and then we have sticks, and then we have more grass. I think I told you I've been making syntropic rows at home.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, and I messed up. I had ryegrass growing this tall behind a swale. And what I realized is I took all the pile of wood cuttings that I didn't know what to do with, laid it down in a row, and then I realized by putting all the rye on top,
it's easier to walk.
It's so much easier to walk.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's like 4 inches of organic matter.
Maybe even more. We really want this to be at least that much. What is the difference between the soil here and the soil in the rainforest? A lot of organic matter. You can come here and put as much molasses, compost, or whatever it is. If there is no food for them, they're just gonna take off. I used to say, like the Italians, if you're gonna invite them to come to your house, you better cook good pasta. Otherwise they will come once, you know. So if you're inviting all the microbiology to be here, you gotta have plenty of food for them to be.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely gonna do the trick. When Thiago showed up, his first comment was that the mulch is way too thin. Until there's actual shade over the soil and a real canopy, the purpose of the mulch is just to cover the dirt. Over the time, the mulch will evolve into a buffet for the soil microorganisms, but unless that moisture has a strong opportunity to stick around, it's just shade. We recently had the remnants of Tropical Storm Alberto come through the ranch. Pretty significant rainfall in West Texas, but we had a spell of bad luck. So far, we only got 0.67 inches of rain, but what you can see here is the mulch working. It held moisture, all that water soaked right into the ground, but there wasn't enough runoff for my dirt bathtubs or the dams or the terraces to catch extra water. What you can see is that the ground is still wet, and the job of the mulch here is to keep it covered so that that moisture sticks around a little bit longer. Just a couple of days makes a big difference as these plants are getting started. And I'm happy to report that Brandon, a couple of days later, walked up and stuck his finger in the dirt in the mulch and verified that, yeah, the mulch really is holding moisture and it is humid when you stick your finger in. And of course, the nearby dirt, it was bone dry within half a day.
So that will be the job for the next 2-3 months, to do this really, really well, and then copy and paste and do there. And then we work in between from here to there. Then we're gonna have this massive island of fertility, and then the job is done here. All we gotta do is come chop and drop, chop and drop, chop and drop.
When I need to work on any kind of road, the inevitable consequence is digging up some of the local agave, which is lechuguilla. As we widened the road in the last episode, we had some agave laying around that it would go to waste if I didn't transplant it, so why not? Thiago showed me how I can peel the dead pencas, or the agave leaves, kind of like an onion or a leek, because those leaves grow in layers. You can pull a leaf off, twist the agave, and pull off the next leaf, and it goes in an obvious order. The benefit of doing that is that dead material on a living plant is kind of like a water parasite. It sucks moisture away from the plant where it actually needs it. When you remove that, it has the opportunity to heal and do a much better job of preserving water. Just right there in the middle?
I was gonna plant it.
Oh, right by the cacti.
Yeah.
Are we messing anything up, disturbing them since they've been in the ground for a month?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The actual transplanting of agave is so simple. You just make sure the roots are directly in contact with the soil and covered. As long as there's water and sufficient mulch to protect that transplant from the sun and the wind, then you've given the agave the opportunity to succeed.
Literally planting rocks.
Pretty much, but if there's any plant that'll grow on rocks, it's cactus and agave. The success rate of a transplant is much higher the larger the agave is, and these are pretty small. But like I said, these were already dug up because I needed to expand the road. This is what I have, so this is what I'm going with. I have no concerns whatsoever about this structure washing out because it has 2 terraces above it that are sending water elsewhere. And even if there is a lot of water on that terrace, I have a spillway that I've measured with a laser grader. Thiago and his team made a solid plan for me in the sense that I know what result I'm striving for.
Life will come where there is more life.
Yeah. Well, that was something that Zhu and I made up on the spot. Was we had so much extra cactus. I said, why are we gonna?
Yeah.
Let's just use it all.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But because I've never followed a plan like this before, I'm now paying the price because the mistakes are compounding themselves. Yesterday, I was giving Daniel a little tour of the terrace. The spots that are doing the worst are the ones with the least amount of mulch. My job is to move by hand that pile behind me and go really compact everything and thicken that mulch so this desert forest gets some progress. And this is all soap tree yucca, which is our favorite mulch source because you get the fibrous leaves, you get this coir from the interior. All this stuff should be amazing for soaking up water. A good example is me carrying this mulch. And now I am going all the way to the end. I know that the complete inefficiency of this is going to drive some people absolutely bonkers, but the reality is that we're still so in our baby days of learning how to do this, or we weren't entirely sure what the requirements were. Part of the best way to learn is just to do and then worry about the efficiency. So on the second terrace, we know how we want to lay out the irrigation lines. We know that we basically want to deliver mulch in a trailer, and we want to be not in a hurry to do it, so that we don't box ourselves in to bad choices. Watching dust ups grow from afar is almost as thrilling as being there, especially with the pictures that Brandon sends. But pictures can't replace live footage. That's where Reolink comes in, transforming how I monitor my space. Thanks to today's sponsor, Reolink, we've set up the Reolink Argus PT. It's perfectly positioned to monitor my living space without compromising my privacy. We have it mounted on the side of another doghouse where it provides a very clear view of my front door. It's ideal for keeping tabs without feeling intrusive. Camera setup was super easy. It had everything we needed right out of the box. No need for extra store runs. Reolink has it covered. Now, from over 500 miles away, I can stay connected in real time and watch the Dust Ups Ranch. The Reolink app keeps me updated with real-time alerts, making sure that I don't miss anything. The Argus PT is powered by a small solar panel, and it's efficient too. Just 10 minutes of sunlight keeps it running for a full day. Reolink Prime Day is here, and it's the perfect time to score massive deals on your favorite home security products. Enjoy significant discounts on top products like the Argus 4 Pro and SP, Argus PT and SP, and the Doorbell Wi-Fi Black. Upgrade your home security with Reolink's advanced solutions at unbeatable prices. Visit Reolink's Amazon store page to find products like these and more. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to grab these massive offers before they're gone. Happy shopping. My attitude has changed so much towards how I place mulch. These agave are a really good example. They're not that easy to dig out of the ground, and you can see how even with some irrigation nearby, they're clearly struggling. Like the cacti isn't doing great either. So I'm taking the time to put the mulch in between these little nooks and crannies between the agave and the cacti. I went to a ton of effort to get those things over here. It's not the end of the world if they die. They're far more useful as living material. Why wouldn't I expend the same level of concern trying to maximize their ability to retain whatever precious drops of moisture they can get? And before, pretty much everything I started out with was big machines. How do I do this super fast? And right now, all I really care about is making it work on some scale. And even if that scale is only 3,500 square feet, so be it. But I want to get it working and show that I know how to do it. And then as I get more success and figure out all the problems, then we can worry about doing this all super fast. But for now, it's worth the time to come get all of this mulched all the way up to right next to the agave and right next to the cactus. And the reason I keep walking on these rows instead of taking the easy way is that every time I walk on it, I'm compacting the mulch, breaking it down, making it in even better contact with the soil. So even though it's really tedious walking on these rows, ultimately, if I gotta walk this way anyway and get a little more mileage out of this mulch. I've already improved the process for the next terraces where we have some horse manure that Brandon picked up from a local farm. For now, I'm making my way through this terrace to finish it up and make sure that I have every inch of those lines buried with at least 4 inches of mulch, but ideally 6 inches. What I've learned from talking to people is that 4 to 6 inches of mulch is the best balance between giving a really good result without having diminishing returns. I usually have the go work ethic, but I think it's important to take 5 or 10 minutes. It's probably been 2 hours, so I do need to save some energy. I got to do the seeds later today, so I'm trying to get in about 4 hours of work this morning, and then towards the end of the day, I want to get in about 4 hours. My morale generally stays high on the Dust Ups project because I'm working on something that I'm naturally passionate about. But if I'm totally honest, you'll know that the flame doesn't always burn so bright. There are days where I'm exhausted and overwhelmed, and I just don't have enough gas in the tank to meet my goals. One thing I'm often guilty about is horsewhipping myself, just trying to make myself do things, like the David Goggins style, just talking poorly to yourself and trying to be hard. And I just don't find that that is positive for my life in any way. Just like a car can't redline itself 100% of the time, neither can I, although sometimes I try really, really hard to make it happen. I've been working the whole morning, And I've now deeply mulched about an 1/18 of the terrace. I can just feel my energy waning, even though I really want to keep working. I think it's time for breakfast. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes of manual labor, and I did an hour of planning and prep work on the desk. It's a good start to the day. I wish I had a little more energy in the tank, but I don't, so time to go eat. After doing all that mulching, that is not the best use of time. I really think it's going to be worth having some degree of automation, because the amount of time I spend tucking those leaves in neatly and making it all look pretty, and all the space that's wasted with the air while I carry the trash can down the pile, and all the space it takes up in the trailer. Daniel recommended a chipper. I bought this for $129. I am going to assemble it, and we are trying this out on the mulch that's still left, and hopefully I can finish mulching that line on the terrace. Ta-da! The first order of business is going to be to chip the cardboard that it came in, and we'll just give that a little dry run and see how it does. The last order of business is just making sure it's safe to run by checking the electrical capacity. It says here at the top left corner that this pulls 14 amps. And my solar generator supports 20 amps. Just in case I need to return this thing, I'm going to chip something meaningless that won't affect my ability to return it. Maybe cardboard isn't the thing. This is so useless. I'm gonna be here for hours doing this. I can just tear it by hand. There we go. I've got some agave leaves in what was originally going to be a compost pile. Let's see how this does. It does not like this loose stuff at all. Yeah, that is completely not a good use of time. I'm going to try it with some dry wood. Dried ocotillo. Well, we have a clear winner. So the dried woody material, probably ocotillo, creosote, the stuff that grows around here that tends to form branches that are really, really thin, I think that might be ideal. The soap tree yucca that we like so much, I don't think it's going to handle the material at all, but it's time for me to go back and do some mulching. It's stuck. Like, I've been using this for 5 minutes and it's choked. I'll show this to you, and then I'm taking it back to the store because this is a waste of money. Not happening. But for those of you wondering why I'm not trying to grow mesquite, this whole valley's covered in mesquite. It's down on my property by the river, but there's no mesquite here. Meaning, if mesquite wanted to grow here, it'd already be here. Now we gotta pick this up by hand, and I have a sad little haul for the amount of time I've spent here. We'll take that back to the store and move on. So that chipper's garbage. It's extremely disappointing. The only thing it works on was ocotillo that's this dry, which is
easy to snap.
Yeah, like
I don't need help with this. Walk on it and it'll be powder. Like, yeah. That sucks, man.
The process of finding this mulch, chopping it up, carrying it, and then laying it down by hand is unfortunately got to continue until we get this entire terrace covered. But like I said, thankfully we've limited the area to 3,500 square feet. In the next episode, we're going to make some progress where we're being more efficient with finding the mulch in one spot. And as the next couple of months progress, I feel pretty confident that we're going to get this cost down further and further and further. But for now, this is where we're at. This is the progress I'm making, and I'm really looking forward to getting better. Right now, Hurricane Beryl has a chance to make it towards the Dust Ups Ranch. I'm watching that weather very closely. If you'd like to get real-time updates from what's happening at the Dust Ups Ranch, the fastest way to stay up to date is to go to dustupsranch.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.